Alright guys, no real update for the car today. So, wanted to do this video real quick to kind of why I'm doing this whole project, what it's going over, kind of give an update on what I'm doing exactly with the engine, where I'm going to be at when this is all said and done, why I'm not building a 1,000 wheel horsepower Supra. I'll get into that in details and show off the rest of the garage. I had a couple people message me about that also. So as usual, I need my phone because I'll fucking forget everything. Oh, also got a message too saying someone I curse too much. Fuck, shit, fuck. Just to throw that one out there real quick. If you don't like it, you're not gonna like this channel because I have a horrible mouth. So you better get used to it. Alright, first one, the garage cabinets. I kind of wanted to go over for everybody the cost of everything. People message me, how much did it cost, when did you get it, does it matter the time of the year, and I got lucky in the fact that when I moved into the house, I got all the cabinets Huskier from Home Depot, and they sent me a 20% off discount code. So I think each one of these boxes was originally $279, or something like that, $279, $280, and I was able to get them for like almost $200, which I thought was cheap. And then on top of that, after going to pick them up 3 different times from Home Depot in Hagerstown, I got the lucky fact that they never showed up 3 different times. They called me and said, yes, they're here, yes, they're here, yes, they're here, just to find out, oh, they never showed up. So they took $100 off each box, so I got each box for $100. So I got all 3 of these Husky boxes for $300. Then the cabinets themselves, I believe the short ones here, these were like $120, and the tall ones were like $285, just close to what I paid for the actual toolboxes themselves. So in all grand total with everything, shit man, I have just barely over $1,000 and everything to have this whole entire setup. So if you have the space, you can't beat this. The whole point behind it was, I was kind of copying Obsessed Garage, which I'll try and post a picture of it up here, of what the idea is going for. He has another YouTube channel himself called Obsessed Garage. I'm not sure if it's just called that or if it's .com or whatever, but I saw a layout on a website called the Garage Journal, and he had this whole white layout, like it looked beautiful. And he had his TV mounted here, which, as you can see, I have the sockets. I'm going to install a TV here shortly. And I was like, man, this is perfect. I was just building the house. I knew I could set the garage up just like that and it wouldn't cost me much more. So that's where I got the idea for all that from and getting this all done. And for what it cost of me, I couldn't beat it. Got rid of my old Craftsman stuff, sold that off, and gave the one to my brother-in-law. So worked out well for me. All right, another one here. What got me into cars? Well, I would say my grandparents and my father, to a point. Both my grandparents were into muscle cars. My father at the time had a '69 Camaro. But what actually got me into cars per se and imports was actually my grandfather on my mother's side was actually into import cars. Took me Nopi Nationals, got me into I had my first sport compact mag in 2001. My grandfather got it for me when I was 13 years old. I was looking at Hondas and Integras and Supras, and my grandfather had to explain it to me. Not my father, not friends. My 6-year-old grandfather explained to me why imports are so cool, what makes them so fast, and how they work. So I got lucky in the fact that I had someone that was actually into them, and I got to go to Nopi back in the day, which it's kind of funny talking to kids. They don't even know what Nopi Nationals is anymore. That's what really started me in it. And then I wanted a GSR Integra. I wanted one so badly that I just thought those were the coolest. That was the creme de la creme. That's what I had to have because it had VTEC. There was nothing better. And I ended up getting a Celica that I'll post up here also what it looked like. And I love the car to death, but oh my God, it was slower than hell. No one made parts for it. They had the GT4 in Japan that year, but they never brought it here. They had a 2.2 liter that made a whopping 135 crank horsepower. It was a giant disappointment in itself. So I really wish I would have had something else at the time, but that's what made me fell for the Supra over time. Yes, Fast and Furious helped that too, but having a Toyota itself and having it that year in body style was so similar to the Supra made me want one even more. Which leads into the fact that how did I get into the Supra and why did I want one? Well, starting out with the Celica was part of it, and then just seeing them and just talking to friends for years upon years saying, I'm going to get one, I'm going to get one. Them getting tired of me saying I'm going to get one. And so I actually had a friend, Derek Weil. I posted on Facebook saying, man, if anyone can find me a Supra, let me know. Within 5 minutes, he just sent me a random silver one that was on Craigslist and said, hey, what about this? And I was like, I don't know. Called the guy. He says, yeah, I got it. It's my wife wants me to sell my cars, and it's sitting in the back lot. So if you want to come get it, let me know. And I call him and say, how much? He says, sell it to you for $12,500. I said, nah, that's too much. It had hail damage, had some issues, and ended up getting him talked down to $11,000. I said, all right, drive down there. And at the time, my friend had a Bentley that he was borrowing from his dad. So I'm telling this guy, I'm poor, and I show up in this badass car, and he's like, hey, what's the catch here? That's beside the point, but I always thought that was kind of ironic. I show up and telling this guy I'm broke ass, and I got this Bentley I roll up in. Get there, my dumbass, I got a loan for $10,000 from the bank instead of $11,000, so I had to cut him another check for $1,000 that I promised him that wouldn't bounce, and he was freaking out on me. So that was another part of the story. Get in the car, I drive it home, and I smiled ear to ear the whole way home. It was slow, and it was dirty, and I loved every fucking minute of it. It was my dream. I finally had it, and even my friends at the time, Sam, he was in the Bentley. He's like, I want to drive the car. I'll let you drive this. I want to drive the Supra. It's just such an iconic car. Everyone just follows it as much as I do. It's awesome to see. Yeah, I fell in love with it, and that was always my dream to finally own one. Why am I tearing the engine down? So about 2 years ago, some people know I did a bunch of posting when I originally did this. I swapped the engine from a non-turbo to an Aristo turbo motor. I actually bought the motor in New Jersey with already a single setup on it, and rear sump oil pan already done for a boy named Mike. I actually still keep in touch with my good guy. And end up selling off the eBay turbo kit that was on it. Turbo itself, I don't think it was eBay. I could never figure out what brand it was. The last owner, Mike, didn't know either, so I sold that off for actually half decent price, sold the rest of the eBay parts off, and bought a real manifold, had custom downpipe, all the intercooler piping made, etc., etc. Now this time, I'm doing everything over, partly because of all the oil coming out of the engine. The car runs fine, it doesn't skip a beat, never had an issue with that. What I'm having issues with, all the seals are blown. I just replaced the lower oil pan seal, and that was leaking. So my only issue I'm starting to think is if I have crankcase pressure. I always fuck that word up every time. Crankcase pressure that's too high. So I'm thinking that my OCD valve covers that are custom aren't bending properly, and I might actually take the baffles out, hoping that'll fix it. Yes, I know I'll get excess blow by. I'll deal with that as long as it doesn't blow up the seals. Because the front main seal has fucking oil come out of everywhere. The rear main seal has oil coming out of it. The upper pan has oil coming out of it. There's oil coming out of everywhere. The valve stem seals need replaced. That needed done before this all, and I didn't know enough about it, was too afraid to do it, so I just said, fuck it, it'll be fine. And I wish I would have done it now, so now I'm going to have the head cleaned, etc., etc. So mostly because of the seals, that's why the engine's out, and what I'm doing, I'm just going to clean some things up, replace the head gasket, put ARP studs in it. My goal was this time to put fuel system in it, FID or FIC injectors, 1000cc. I'm shooting for 600 wheel horsepower on pump gas, 93 pump gas here in Pennsylvania. We don't get 95 like other places do, and thank God I don't live in California and have to deal with 91 piss that they get to deal with. I'm lucky at least we get 93. So that's my goal right now. I have no inclination whatsoever to make 1,000 wheel horsepower. Actually, I had no inclination to really go much higher than it was before. I was really happy with the car. It was just really limited by the 440cc injectors, and half the time I couldn't even rev it out because I couldn't hold the boost low enough. So that's pretty much why I'm upgrading, is just so I can enjoy the car fully. 600 wheel horsepower in a car like that, I feel is going to be plenty. Hell, I have fun in my friend's stock Z06, so this car will be plenty fast for me. And I think it's going to end up being on the back burner a little bit because I think we're going to be having kids here down the road. So car is not going to get used as much. So yeah, that's pretty much the plan. Fuel, seals, put it back in, anti-lag, burnouts, fun shit. Oh, transmission, CD009. Been going back and forth between the V160, CD009, R154, and after everything's said and done, V160 just costs too much. Rebuild, clutches, everything costs too much. R154 is too antiquated anymore, and it won't work at the rear end I have. I have a twin turbo 3.13 rear end with a TRD LSD in it, so I would like to use that. With the R154, I would need to buy an auto rear diff, and if I gotta do all that, I don't feel like selling it, plus it's so rare now, I'd rather just use the TT rear diff. So I've got to find a CD09, use the Collins adapter, get everything hooked up, tap into the ABS sensors so I can get the speedo to work, and I should be good. So that's pretty much the plan, guys. That gives you a little bit rundown on what I'm doing, where the car's at, what got me into cars. So if there's anything else you guys would like to know about the car, what I'm doing, how I'm doing it, if you want me to go any more in depth on something, please leave a comment below, like this, and let me know what you guys think. Thanks.